Hey guys, Paul here. Alright, I wanted to make a quick video. I recently purchased an electric scooter, and the one that I got was the Xiaomi 1S. Now this was an upgrade apparently from the Xiaomi 365. It is right here. Alright, so what I've done, I haven't really done any physical mods to the machine, but last night I did do a mod for the firmware, so we'll talk about that in a second. First, I'm going to give you some insights now that I've had the electric scooter for a while. I've been kind of surprised. A few things that I didn't really realize. I've had obviously I've had electric bikes, motorcycles, cars, etc. One thing about the electric scooter is you really feel present and really in the moment, because obviously you're simply standing on the scooter while it's pushing you, while it's going on its own. And you can really look around, you really feel like you're free to look around and be present in that environment. You don't have a car metal around you, or you're not leaned over on a bicycle pedaling. You literally are standing up straight and you really have all the visibility, so you really feel present in the moment. So it's obviously not as safe as, if you get hit or there's an accident, you're going to be pretty bad off. But hopefully you can avoid those because you'll have so much more visibility, and you obviously won't be going 50 miles an hour or something like that. So number one, safety-wise, I feel pretty good on it. Like I said, obviously you want to avoid accidents, so you can do that by being really aware of your surroundings and really being having everything visible. So this model is the Xiaomi 1S. It retails for around $400 or $500 right now, and it's, like I said, an upgrade from the 365. I had no real experience before this. That's probably why I'm making this video, because there's a few reviews on using it, but not a lot of reviews on what does it mean to be on a scooter? What's the difference between that, electric bike, etc. So in my case, it's been pretty positive so far. I've had this scooter for about maybe 2 weeks now. A few things I want to say is I made no physical mods, but I did make a firmware change. Basically, I made 3 changes. Now, when you can go to these different websites and run these different configurations, you can change everything about this machine as far as how the software works. But the 3 changes that I made were, number one, stock, it's got a maximum velocity of 25 miles an hour. So I wanted to increase that. I did increase that all the way to a top of 40. Now, I didn't change the battery, the way the battery works, or the engine, the motor, or any kind of more performance settings besides the top end stopping at 40. What I mean is, by stock, it's going to go to 25 miles an hour and then stop. So it could go higher than 25. It's got more potential, more power. But when it hits 25, it's just going to sit at that 25 limit. So I changed the limit to 40. So if it can, go to 40, if we can keep increasing, then we'll just keep on increasing, and obviously not increase more than 40. I don't think it'll ever go that fast. But if I'm on a flat surface and I can get up to, let's say, 30, 35, then it will go that far, that fast. But it's not going to put any extra damage or any problems with the motor or the battery, because you can change those settings in the firmware to change even more power, but I didn't do that. I just changed, like I said, that top limit instead of 25 to 40 in this case. Another change that I made was the regenerative braking. So a lot of times when you're using the machine and you're not putting the throttle, maybe you've hit the speed that you want, or now you're going to be slowing down pretty soon. Instead of, normally if you're not hitting the throttle and the brake, it's going to automatically have this regenerative braking thing going on, where the machine over time will slow down, because it's doing, like I said, the regenerative braking. So in this case, I turn that off. So if I'm not hitting the throttle, it will not slow down, not engage the regenerative braking, and keep going at a constant or fairly constant velocity. And for me, it feels more like a normal manual scooter. What I mean is, when you're on a manual scooter and you push and you're just going, you on the scooter will just keep going in that same direction. It'll slow down, but pretty slowly. So it feels a little more like that natural motion of being on a scooter and pushing the scooter, and when you're not engaging the throttle, you're still coasting. So second change, last word was the speed at which the throttle will engage. What I mean is, a lot of times with these scooters, you've got to push yourself, and once you've pushed yourself, then you can engage the scooter, and the stock setting was 5 kilometers per second, per hour. So once it's got that velocity, then the throttle will actually work. And that's been completely fine. However, I did adjust it, pull it down to, I turned it to 2. I probably recommend either a 2 or a 3, because there are times where you push the bike and maybe it gets to 5 and then it'll start to slow down, and then you engage when it's, let's say, at 4 or even less, and nothing will happen. Then you gotta push again, you put your foot down and manually push again. So took that rate down to 2. Now, even with the firmware change, you can't change it to 0, meaning if the machine's not moving, the throttle will not push the machine from 0. So I think the lowest setting is 1. I changed it, as I said, to 2, but probably 3 is fine as well. So those 3 changes, none of those, obviously you basically void your warranty, certainly if you've got, you know, a custom firmware, but you can as well easily change back to the stock firmware. So if you ever had to make a warranty claim, you could conceivably revert back to the stock firmware and, you know, make your warranty claim. So there's that. Overall, I've been pretty happy with it. Now I'll talk about this model in particular. Like I said, this is the 1S. A bigger model, that's a current bigger model, is the 2 Pro. Now, a friend of mine's got the 2 Pro, and in fact, for my brother, who's a lot bigger than me. So I'm basically 5'7", about 150 pounds, and this is a perfect setup for me. It's pretty lightweight, 12.5 kilos. You can see it here. It's got the rear disc brake. It folds. I'm not crazy about this folding mechanism. It uses the part of the bell in the front to lock it into the back post here. So there it is, and there's this thing, I don't know what you call it, the handle for the bell clips in to the back. So I'm not crazy about that part, but it's been pretty stable, and you know, one hand you can lift it. So it's easy to take into a Starbucks, take into an office. You can charge it wherever you go. You know, it's basically like you bring a charger with you. And I don't know, I've never done it, but if I have to go to Starbucks and I've got no power, you can charge it there as well. So anywhere you've got basic power outlet. The bigger model is the 2 Pro. It's got, I want to say either it's a little bit taller, it's got a longer wheelbase, it's got a bigger battery. Stock, they both have a limit of 25, but that one's got a lot more range because it's got a much bigger battery. Now, obviously, when you get a bigger battery, it's going to be a little bit heavier. So this is 12.5. That one, I believe, is 14.5 kilograms. It's a little heavier. It's a little bit bigger. It's a little bit longer. It's a little bit wider. You know, it's all around slightly bigger. Now, for me personally, I'm very happy with this one. It's got a lot of range. It's got, you know, good performance. Like I said, I'm only 150 pounds, 5'7", so for me, this is perfect. Now, for my brother, I probably would recommend get the bigger one, get the 2 Pro. The older models, I probably would say don't get the older models. There's a few changes there. Number one, the wheels in these, this is an inflated, you know, wheel. It's got 50 pounds of pressure in the wheels. And the previous model, the 365, had a few wheel problems. And for instance, the back guard here, this is attached. You can see it's got this brace, so that, you know, if you were putting weight here, it's not going to, you know, cave in or anything, but because it's got this brace here. So I know the 365 did not have that. A few other changes, like the display, I believe, is a little bit different as far as how the software works. But overall, they're pretty similar, but the 1S is slightly better than the 365 that it replaced. So I'd recommend either the 1S if you're smaller like me, or if you're bigger like my brother, probably get the 2 Pro. Overall, I've been really happy with Xiaomi. It really feels like an Apple product, but obviously from, you know, out of China. So the app has been great. Lots of firmware mods that you can make. So I'd recommend making those as well. And I've been pretty happy so far. You know, if you live in the city and you're going to be just going nearby, completely recommend it. You know, a lot of times I'm in my car and I'm just going to go pick up some milk. Yeah, so I'm going to move a 2-ton car to go pick up some milk and then, you know, obviously drive home. But if you're in the city and you can get by with something like this and you're just going to the store, it's certainly the way to go. All right, hope you've enjoyed the video. Give me a little more perspective on what it's like to have a moto, what those mods look like, and what some of those models are. And you're welcome to check out a few other of my videos, and I certainly would recommend this to anybody else that's considering getting an electric scooter. All right, bye-bye for now.